Hi guys, welcome to the next video. So this is the feedback on the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter Foundation and the Flawless Filter Superstar Youth Glow. So what I'll do is I'll pop in a day one review, kind of how it was going so far, and I only recorded one because the same experience was day 1 and 2. So you'll see the experience now and then I will come back. So guys, it's the evening of Tuesday, so I've given it a full 2 days. Again, I'm looking at it around the same time. It's about 6 o'clock, and it's been coming off in patches, unfortunately. You can see here there's a huge difference. If I just show you there, it's gone really oily. It's also come off, and you can kind of see it breaking up and a bit cakey towards my cheeks and forehead. So we'll see. I'm going to do it Wednesday as well. I've had it on about 9 hours. So it does say, obviously, it does say that it's heat proof. It's supposed to stay on. It's a filter basically for your face. It's supposed to blur out imperfections. I think the first 3 hours after that it started to kind of fade away. So I'm not going to give up. We're going to see. We're going to continue. I have high hopes, but I do think if you're looking for something that is going to withstand heat, this may not be the foundation for you. It definitely stays on for a good amount of hours. Again, we'll go through it, and I'll see you again tomorrow, which will be Wednesday. So as you see, it did start to kind of come away throughout the day in terms of the Charlotte Tilbury. I also was reviewing the E.L.F hydrating concealer and the camo 16 hours. So if you remember from the last video, I popped the 16-hour wear on this side and the hydrating on this side. So I was also reviewing that, and I will get to that a little bit later. But in terms of the youth glow, it's beautiful. It is supposed to give your skin a glow, so it's not based around a foundation. It is a youth glow, not a serum, but quite a liquidy kind of texture. So you put it on over a foundation. You don't necessarily have to buy Charlotte Tilbury's foundation. You can buy this and put it over your foundation, and it does give you, so I do have to say, it gives you an amazing kind of lit from within glow. And I'm really happy I purchased it. I think it would go over any foundation. It doesn't obviously have to be Charlotte Tilbury's. I just wanted to look at the Airbrush Flawless Foundation with heat in mind, with how long it will actually stay on. So it says it does, so in turn, let's just start off with the Flawless filter. So it's a Superstar Youth Glow. It's not a serum, it's like a liquid. So if you haven't seen the first video, I will do a quick swatch for you. I'm wearing it today. So although it looks cool, I was color matched on online, and it does look, when you see, it does look quite dark, but this is in fair pale, and then you just, as you can see, it just gives that, there you go, you can see that there, that glisten. So I found it was really good throughout the day. It stayed throughout the day. It just gave that look. I took some pictures. There was no flashback because that was, I'm basing this around photographs. I'm basing this around how I'm going to look in a photograph, so that if I do go to a job where there is obviously weddings and things, that there's always going to be photos taken. There's no flashback. So that was important for me, and there isn't, but it also stayed throughout the day. And it just looked beautiful. It really did. And it just gives you that luminous glow from within. So if you've got really good skin, I think I would sometimes after your moisturizer maybe pop that on as well. Just gives your skin that glow. So I think it's actually suitable to wear on its own if you feel confident to not wear foundation. So I would give that a 10 out of 10 in my books. It really did do what it says it does. So moving on to the Airbrush Flawless Foundation. I had such high hopes for it. I couldn't wait. I was so excited to get it. And this is again the packaging. They're quite similar. They're the same. This is the Hollywood Flawless, and then this is the Airbrush Flawless Foundation. So this is the Youth Glow that we've just described, and I have that on today. And then this is the foundation. It says stays all day and night. And I'll just reread what it says for you, and then we'll go through what I think about it. So it says a full coverage foundation with flawless matte, long-lasting finish. Apply your airbrush foundation, blending outwards from the center of your face for a flawless airbrushed finish. So I'll just show you, and I'll do a little swatch in case you haven't seen my previous video. Again, the packaging is just absolutely stunning, beautiful. You've got a glass bottle here, you've got the gold top, and you do have a pump, which is great. So I'll just do a quick swatch. Again, I was colour matched on Cult Beauty. I've got these both on Cult Beauty, so I probably put a little bit too much there, guys. I'm sorry. So if I just take a little bit of that, so that's what it looks like. And then it did warm up on my skin as I put it on. So if I just show you what, this is kind of quite similar to what happened. You can see as I'm blending that out on my skin, it is starting to not oxidize, but you can see it's starting to see how pale it started out, and now it does kind of blend into your own skin tone. So I would say that is one of the things it definitely does. Okay, I did accidentally put a little bit out there, so I'm just gonna wipe that. So in terms of how that went, it stayed really, really well for the first, I'd say, 6 hours. And then I started to notice it starting to kind of oily patches. Literally, there's a couple of patches if you saw in the previous video, the previous kind of segment on my feedback after the first day. The reason I didn't do a second feedback is because the same thing happened the second day. So if something different had happened or it had stayed, that would be great. The foundation started to kind of come away in patches throughout the day. Now I will say I had got a E.L.F putty primer on. So that might have been they just don't go. The putty primer is quite greasy and oily. So it may have been that those two just don't match. So I'm not going to say it won't stay on your face all day. But for me, it stayed for about 6 hours. And then it certainly started to fall away. And it fell away like kind of in patches and then up here. So that this discoloration was really, really obvious. So because we'd had the Filter Full Youth Glow and the Airbrush Flawless Foundation, they obviously gave a colour and blended in really well at the beginning, but it started to kind of, the foundation started to kind of just come away in patches. And that was due to, it could have been due to two things. It could have been due to the fact that we had really, really hot weather on Monday and Tuesday. So maybe it doesn't interact well with heat, or I think it might have been the E.L.F putty primer. That those two consistencies just don't mix together. So it could be one or two things, because I really want to give this foundation a really fair review. It goes on flawless, it looks flawless, it definitely, these two together, I mean, sometimes in advertising they say buy this so it goes well with this, and it's all about kind of sales and things like that, but the two together really, really do suit each other. So because the Flawless Youth Glow lasted throughout the day, and it was a similar consistency base to the E.L.F putty primer, I think maybe what I think may have happened, and what I can do down the road, if I have time, is just try the Charlotte Tilbury without primer, or that particular primer, the E.L.F putty primer. I think basically what I think might have happened is that the E.L.F putty primer just doesn't suit the liquid and the texture of the Flawless foundation. So for staying power with with the primer or on its own, I would say I would give it a 7 out of 10, and I would dock those 3 points because it just started to literally come away in patches and extremely obvious as well. So, and again, you will see that in the segment. So I will give it 7 out of 10, but I will come back. I do have other videos to do, but because I suppose the only thing that could have happened is that, just to give it the benefit of the doubt, is that it may have been that the primer and the foundation just didn't mix in terms of their ingredients. So I am willing to kind of give it the benefit of the doubt, but for staying power, I'm going to give it a 7. Before it started to fall away, the pictures did look really well. Afterwards, obviously, it was very obvious. So if you're somebody who's kind of going to an event and you've had dinner and everything like that, and the photos are at the end of the evening and it's in a hot environment, it may let you down slightly, but the only way we'd know that is really obviously to try it without primer. So I do have high hopes for it. I think it's a really, really good foundation. The ingredients are beautiful. It didn't break my skin out. It is one of the higher end, and sometimes you need to know, should I invest or should I not? If you were looking for me for advice, I would say try it. I absolutely would say try it. If you're not sure of your skin tone, either go in and get tested. If you kind of are still unsure about leaving the house with COVID and things, Cult Beauty will do a match me option. So you put a picture of yourself, you take a picture, no makeup, and then you press submit and they will actually go through foundations, and you kind of wait, it's kind of on a timer, and then they come up with what they basically would advise in terms of your colouring. So in all, beautiful, beautiful makeup. I've always been a fan of Charlotte Tilbury. The Youth Glow is just beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful, and it comes through any foundation. So if you put, I don't know, Rimmel or, you know, L'Oreal, and you want just to invest in that youth glow, for that youth glow within, or you've got really good skin and you just want that glow over your moisturizer, I would really highly recommend the Youth Glow from Charlotte Tilbury. So Charlotte Tilbury's Youth Glow, I would give a 10 out of 10. The foundation for long wear, particularly because it says it stays all day and all night. It didn't, so I'd give it a 7. But I will at some point try to just not use primer, and that may have been it. But for me, it may have just been my skin. You know, I've got combination kind of sensitive skin. It may have been that. So we'll see. But would I, even at the 7 out of 10, would I recommend to try it? Absolutely, I would. Beautiful, beautiful consistency, really soft, very skin-like, beautiful to put on, and it does have a lot of really good ingredients as well. So definitely would recommend both. So that was that. Now, if you remember before that, I had bought a couple of E.L.F products, but two that I was quite excited to try were the E.L.F 16 camo concealer matte finish, and this is 16-hour wear. And then this was the hydrating camo concealer. So this is more of a hydrating consistency. This is the 16-hour wear, so it would be more matte. I really wanted to try, I was going to get the 16-hour wear. E.L.F concealers are just, they've always been amazing, always been reliable. I was really excited to get the E.L.F hydrating because I was, you know, I definitely have dry areas. I'm getting red under my skin tones, things like that. Things are changing as I'm getting older, and I want to adapt my makeup to that too. So I wanted to try for myself the E.L.F hydrating primer. It doesn't give an hour wear, so this obviously says 16-hour wear or however it is. This just says hydrating primer. It doesn't actually give any info on how long it's supposed to last. And you do hope it lasts. Everyone wants their makeup to last throughout the day, at least 8 hours. So what I did, if you remember on the previous video, is I put E.L.F Cameo Concealer on one section and hydrating on the other. And the same day, obviously, as I've been testing everything outside with Charlotte Tilbury, I also was obviously keeping an eye on these as well. So what I would say is they're both okay. So E.L.F Cameo Concealer stayed for the entire day. I was really, really happy that it didn't mix with the Flawless filter. It sometimes when you combine certain things and then you put I always try to put my foundation on and then my concealer to brighten it up. And it didn't. The Hollywood Flawless filter Youth Glow was a different consistency, and I was wondering and worried if it would actually kind of mesh okay and would everything be okay throughout the day. So the 16-hour Cameo Concealer worked absolutely. Throughout the day it did fade slightly, but again, our weather has been so unpredictable. I mean, today it's been thundering, it's been lightning, but when the point is when I actually, what I'm meaning to say is that when I tried this, it was like 28 degrees. I was in and out, I had to do things. So it was a perfect day to try it basically, and it stayed for about 9 hours. So I'm very, very happy. I don't think anyone would wear their makeup 16 hours, but when it did start to wear away, it wasn't obvious, it wasn't patchy, it didn't come off in an obvious way. You could just see, if you looked, you could see, okay, that's definitely starting to show, but that was after 9 hours. So I would highly recommend it. 16-hour wear. It's a matte finish as well, just to be aware. It's matte, it dries matte. So that's why I think the Flawless filter complemented it, because I had the glow, but I was still able to rely on a matte concealer. So I would absolutely, I think it's like £8 or $10. So I would recommend that. The hydrating concealer was really beautiful. They're both in light ivory, so I know there is a difference. It looks like there's a difference in consistency in terms of colour, not consistency, colour, but they're both light ivory. And this was beautiful on the skin. You could definitely feel there was a lighter texture to this. It was more like a lotion kind of texture. A little goes a long, long way. However, this came off about 2 hours before the Cameo concealer. So what must happen is they must put those ingredients in to hydrate it, but for some reason it just doesn't stay the same length of time. So this stayed on till about, I applied it at 9 a.m. because I did that video on Monday at 9 a.m. I took off my makeup at 6 p.m. This lasted till 4. So I was really kind of looking at, obviously for review purposes, taking a look every couple of hours at my skin. Again, the only thing I will say on a positive note is that it didn't come off, obviously, similar like this one here. It didn't come off in patches like the Charlotte Tilbury did. It came off kind of almost like in a consistent way, basically. So it started to kind of show, is a better way to say it. So the tiredness and under eye kind of grey started to show as it got later on into the afternoon, but it did hold up really well considering we had this the weather we'd had. It held up really well, so I still would purchase it again. I'd purchase them both. Repurchase them both. I think they're really reliable concealers. I think they're concealers that you can bring, obviously you can feel confident in wearing. They're not going, you do get some concealers that actually start to fall away within an hour, 2 hours, or they don't actually blend with your the makeup you put on afterwards. I felt that they were really, really good. I originally thought that if I swatch for you, I originally thought that the colour might be too bright, but it does warm to your skin, similar to the Charlotte Tilbury. So you can see there. So that's the 16-hour wear. Okay, and then you have that was the hydrating. This is the 16-hour wear. We're going to just put side by side. Okay, and you can see okay, so see the difference there in color. Okay, they are both advertised as light ivory and light ivory, but there is certainly a difference in color there. So that was the only thing I'd be aware of. As I blend, you will see it does. Okay, you can see there, it's just enhanced the color of my skin that's already there. It hasn't made it look patchy or different. And if I do it here, you can see this starts to do the same thing, just with a bit of a sheen. So we'll continue that. See, you do have to work with the hydrating concealer a little bit more than the 16-hour wear. But that's because it's a completely different consistency. It's lighter, it's got more of a lotiony feel to it. You can see now, as that extra work I'm putting in, it is starting to work, but it's giving me that lighter but not obvious highlight, or conceal. And there you go. See, so that's much more of a, you do work a little bit more to get this kind of where you want it to be in comparison with the 16-hour wear. But you can see now, as it's warmed to my skin, it's gone the same color. So that's just something to be aware of. It doesn't mean that I wouldn't repurchase them again. Absolutely. I think if I was to rely on one more, it would probably be this one. If I knew I was just going out for a day look, or I was going out with friends during the day, meeting them up, I would feel confident wearing this. If I needed to go somewhere where I knew there was going to be kind of things going on, photos, things, or not just photos, things that I knew, like a night I knew I would be away later than I usually am, I would rely on the 16-hour. So I would seriously still repurchase them again. I just would use them for different things. I'd use them in different days for different situations. So meeting people, going to a friend's house, if we decide to go out for dinner or drinks or something, I knew it wouldn't be too long. I would use this. But if I knew, there was going to be photos, if I knew actually we are going to be out late, I would use the camo E.L.F. So yes, I would still get them both, but different. You can see there, just to be aware that you do need to work a little bit more with the hydrating concealer, as you saw in my hand, because it's a different liquidy consistency, and it does take a little bit more work to blend, but the result is still amazing. So yes, in all, I would highly recommend both of them. I think just be careful with your primer. I mean, I may be wrong in terms of the Charlotte Tilbury foundation. It may not be the primer. It may be that it just cannot withstand the heat. But I still think I would love to just try no primer with it and see how I go, because the consistency, the feel, it's definitely a more reliable in terms of I knew I wouldn't break out because the ingredients are so good, and I didn't, so I'd be happy to very happy to review them at another point in terms of if the the primer makes a difference, but highly recommend them both, guys. I hope everyone is keeping well, and I'll see you in the next video.